I have to say, this is incredibly exciting. Thank you, thank you. But I thought if you want to have this many Loyola students listening to you, your name had better be Sister Jean. But anyway, not me. But this is a great honor for me. It's something that I could not have imagined when I graduated from Loyola in 1974. But in the spirit of a Jesuit Catholic university, let me start with a confession. Have you ever heard the joke that college was the best 5 or 6 years of your life? Well, for me, college was a journey that took me to 3 schools and lasted not 4, not 5, not 6 years, but 10 years. Now, I have another confession. I didn't end that journey here at Loyola because of core values of caring for others and for community. I came to Loyola for convenient night classes. But I left a better person. I left with a real curiosity about the world, a sharpened social conscience, and the self-confidence to act on it. I left prepared to work, but prepared to contribute through a life of leadership and service, but most of all, a quest for justice. Thank you, Loyola, for that. Thank you, President Rooney, members of the Board of Trustees, the administration, and the faculty, friends and family, for the opportunity to be part of your amazing day. But most of all, congratulations to you, Loyola graduates of a class of 2018. You are entering the wider world in 2018, just when the world truly needs ambitious, compassionate people like you who want to make it a better place. Now, you're here in cap and gown, your last papers are done, your final exams are complete, but you are not finished. You're not finished tackling hard questions with no easy answers. So let's spend our little time together thinking about one of those hard questions, and yes, there'll be a test. But the test is what you do tomorrow. What you do with this incredible asset that is your Loyola education. The test is what you do to find meaning in your life. But here's the hard question. Is justice even possible? Now, of course, it's tempting to be cynical, to turn inward, to disconnect. But your Loyola education has affirmed that the world demands your engagement. It also told you that the world is more just when actions are moral, rational, equitable, and fair. So the question is this kind of justice, social justice, justice for all, justice that is defined by our humanity and our highest aspirations, is that kind of justice even possible? Well, you can guess my answer to that question. I lead an institutions whose mission you hear every time you turn on the radio and you listen to NPR. The MacArthur Foundation's mission is a world that is more just, verdant, and peaceful. So the question is justice possible? The answer has to be yes, but it is certainly not inevitable, and it's maybe not even probable. So how can we increase the odds? We can do that by paying more attention to the essential building blocks of justice, a commitment to the common good, to our shared humanity, and to investment and trust in the institutions of accountability. So if our actions reflect those commitments, we are creating the conditions where justice can thrive. Now, even here at Loyola, those conditions were not always in place. I was a student here only a decade after African-American Loyola team captain Jerry Harkness walked to the center of the basketball court and right after the tip-off did the unthinkable. He shook hands with Mississippi State's white team captain Joe Dan Gold. With that game, basketball was changed forever. Now, 10 years later, I took a class from a priest who refused to call on any female students, not one, throughout the entire term. He'd ask a question, he'd call on a male student. If only a young woman raised her hand, he'd answer the question himself. But today, you, young men and young women alike, you have completed a Loyola education designed to challenge your creativity, boost your curiosity, engage your intellect, and demand your participation. This is Loyola in 1963 and Loyola today, helping to build a more just society. But the question is, what can each of you do? First of all, you can answer yes to the question, is justice possible? But then you can get to work on its component parts. First, commit to the common good. Acknowledge that each individual has a stake in the betterment of society as a whole. Second, embrace empathy and our shared humanity. Challenge the insidious racism that people of color experience as they go about their daily lives. Say no when someone smears an entire group of people as criminals or undesirable others. And third, invest and build trust in the institutions of accountability. Like people, institutions are imperfect, but work to improve the administration of justice, law enforcement, and the courts. Engage in the political process and demand that it be responsive and responsible. Rebuff attacks on science and the academy. Value the truth. Demand that the media give you the facts, tell the stories, and lift up the voices that are seldom heard. Will you do this? Now, at a time of existential threat from climate change and the risk of nuclear war, when the current political environment encourages us to express our hatreds and our insecurities, and it accelerates the decline in trust in institutions and those who lead them. When in a world of digital intimacy, we become strangers without connection. Will you commit to the common good, to our shared humanity, and to perfecting the institutions through which accountability for justice are exercised? Again, I think you will. Why do I think that? Because I have both hope and optimism. Those aren't the same. Hope is a feeling of expectation and a desire for a certain thing to happen. Optimism is laced with confidence that something will happen. For me, hope comes from the incredible number of women who are running for political office to get inside the political system and make it work for more people. Hope comes from the vigor of social movements in the US, Black Lives Matter, #MeToo, the Dreamers, sanctuary cities and campuses, defenders of science, LGBTQIA advocacy, the Women's March, and the inspiring leadership of young people as they demand that adults look beyond their thoughts and prayers as a response to gun violence and to take action to secure a better future. Certainly, unjust forces are at work, but there is a real battle underway. Now, I have optimism as well, and there's a personal example I'd like to share. 2 years ago, as something that we call 100 and Change, MacArthur invited proposals on any topic from anywhere in the world to make real progress on a profound problem of our time. Our offer, $100 million to a single organization or collaboration willing to think big. From 900 proposals, we chose a partnership of Sesame Workshop and the International Rescue Committee to provide early education and the foundation for a better future for young people displaced by conflict in the Middle East. But even more important than the single award was the fact that 1,900 universities, organizations, and collaborations stretched their imaginations, thought bigger, and said, yes, we can solve a problem. So 100 and Change demonstrated that in a world fraught with challenge, solutions are possible. That brilliant, caring, courageous people around the world see it as their personal and professional mission to help other people and the planet. So it's actions small and large, individual and collective. These are what provide the hope and the optimism needed to propel all of us forward in pursuit of justice and a better life for all. So 25 years ago, the author Toni Morrison received the Nobel Prize for Literature. In her remarks, she shared a parable. It was about a young child who thought he could outsmart an old blind woman known for her wisdom. He approached her, grasping a small bird in his hands, and he asked, "Is this bird dead or alive?" His plan was, if she said it's alive, he'd squeeze the life out of the bird. If she said it was dead, he'd let the bird fly away. Either way, he'd be right. "Old lady, is this bird dead or alive?" She stood there silent. The boy started to laugh, but then she spoke. She said, "It's in your hands. The answer is in your hands." So Loyola class of 2018, is justice even possible? The answer is in your hands. Thank you and congratulations.